Imagine waking up one morning and realizing the army nearby isn't coming to fight you. They're coming to take everything you own, not your weapons, not your soldiers, your food, your home, your livelihood. No supply lines, no mercy, just destruction, slow, deliberate, and legal. This was Sherman's march to the sea, and the truth behind it is far darker and more complicated than most history books tell us. It's late 1864. The American Civil War has dragged on for years. Hundreds of thousands are dead. The country is exhausted. The North is winning, but barely. The South refuses to surrender. That's when General William Tecumseh Sherman proposes something radical. If we can't beat the Southern armies directly, we'll break the South itself. And so begins one of the most controversial military campaigns in U.S. history. Sherman led about 60,000 Union soldiers on a 300-mile march from Atlanta to Savannah, Georgia. But this wasn't a normal military campaign. Instead of chasing Confederate armies, Sherman did something new. He cut off his own supply lines, ordered soldiers to live off the land, and targeted railroads, farms, warehouses, and towns. The goal wasn't just to defeat soldiers, it was to destroy the South's ability and will to keep fighting. This strategy had a name: total war. Supporters of Sherman often say civilians were spared, destruction was mostly property. The march ended the war faster and saved lives in the long run. And yes, on paper, Sherman did issue orders to avoid unnecessary violence. But here's the uncomfortable truth. War on paper is very different from war on the ground. For civilians, especially in rural Georgia, the march felt like an apocalypse. Union soldiers burned crops and barns, confiscated livestock, destroyed railroads by heating and twisting the tracks, nicknamed Sherman's neckties. Families watched their food stores vanish overnight. Imagine this. You're a farmer, no soldiers in your house, no weapons. Yet suddenly your corn is gone, your animals taken, your barn burned. Winter is coming. Sherman famously said, "War is cruelty, and you cannot refine it." That cruelty wasn't accidental. It was the strategy. Here's where the story gets even more complicated. Wealthy plantation owners often fled ahead of the army. Poor farmers were left behind. With nothing, enslaved people followed Sherman's army in massive numbers, hoping for freedom. But freedom didn't always mean safety. Thousands of formerly enslaved people died from disease, starvation exposure. When the army moved on, many were left stranded, liberated, but abandoned. Did it work militarily? Yes. The march shattered Southern morale. News spread faster than the army itself. Sherman is coming. Confederate resistance collapsed. Within months, the war was effectively over. But here's the moral question historians still argue about. Does ending a war faster justify terrorizing civilians? Sherman's march didn't just change the Civil War, it changed warfare itself. Modern strategies, economic sanctions, infrastructure targeting, psychological warfare, all echo Sherman's logic. Break the system, not just the soldiers. The uncomfortable truth is this: Sherman didn't invent cruelty in war. He just made it systematic. Sherman's march to the sea wasn't pure evil. It wasn't pure heroism either. It was a cold calculation, one that traded civilian suffering for a faster end. And maybe the darkest truth of all is this: it worked. If you enjoyed this deep dive into history's uncomfortable truths, hit like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments. Was Sherman a necessary realist, or history's first warning sign? See you in the next video.